Mini Ninja's short video game review. You use 6 ninjas to fight your way through samurai castles and dull, repetitive, frustrating boss fights to rid the world of samurai. They've all taken over animals, and when you defeat an enemy, you bloodlessly, you don't kill anyone, but you free the animal, which you can then possess if you can even use a few of these in combat, although there's hardly any use for that. Fighting is half of the game. The other half is walking. And both of these get really monotonous because there's just not really, there is actual acrobatics in this. They programmed it. I don't know why they didn't use it much. And there are things they occasionally do to mix it up. You go river rafting, or you ride down this snowy slope, but they're very rare. And yeah, the fighting did not need to be frustrating and boring. It's basically, it's like an Arkham game if the people making it didn't understand what made it work in Arkham games. To be fair, this came out before the first Arkham game, Asylum, so it's not reasonable to expect them to have the Arkham system. But they could have went for the TMNT system, which is infinitely better. I've played TMNT a bunch of times and never been bored playing it. In this, the thing is that they seem to, in part, be making it for small children. We are talking, there's a boss completely built around fart jokes. I'm sorry, if you laugh at that, you are 5 or less, or younger rather. And 5-year-olds cannot play this game. I'm not saying 5-year-olds can't play any game. There are games out there for them. This is not one. This is just, apparently it was made because the developers wanted something they could play with their kids. I'd say it's something they could play while their kids watched. Other than very early on, small children are not going to be able to play this game, but the controls sure seem like they, like they should be able to. Jumping, no matter whether you press, hold, or tap, whatever, it does the exact same jump. The camera's too helpful, and the fighting tends to send you flying, which, if you go off an edge, means you have to climb back up, because of course you're not going to die most of the time. Rather, if you go off an edge, if you go into bottomless pit, but you'll mostly just move slightly too far. And yeah, all the fighting is this, it moves a little too much and it takes a little too long. You never get into a good rhythm with it, and yeah, it's just boring, and it doesn't actually stay as easy as it seems at first. So yeah, then you're just stuck with longer fights where you have to be more careful, and you're constantly frustrated by how much the character moves when you do any attack, how long it takes to stun then attack, how slow he is to block after attacking, and so on and so on. It's really too bad, because overall the game is plenty complex. There are a number of different enemies. The 6 ninja have very different special attacks. The acrobatics are fairly nicely done, reasonably limited, but nevertheless. And the level design is quite good. You fight your way through a handful of castles, each of them memorable. The bosses themselves, quick time event driven, and like I said, frustrating, but there are decent enough ideas in there. The graphics are great, and yeah, there's variety to the areas you go to and the enemies you fight, and you can do some to vary how you fight, but most of the time you're fighting in the exact same way against a bunch of enemies when you're already bored fighting, or you walk slowly through these big open areas where, yeah, it's just, it seems like there were two schools of thought going into this. a casual game that children could play without being stressed out by anything, and a game that, basically, TMNT or Prince of Persia with ninjas and samurais, and the two just could not agree, and it's a bad mix. If you like this review and want a more detailed one, the link is in the description box. Please comment, thumbs up, and subscribe for more content.